The Hamza Namungo, Head Research and Training, Household Zakat Work for Uganda. He's going to take us through the third pillar, mashallah. We are relating the third pillar vis-a-vis economic and social empowerment. We want to look at the way you can use Zakah to empower our community as the Muslim community. Brother,
Inshallah.
you're welcome to UBC.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, my brother Rashid Chwanka.
Okay.
As he introduced, I'm called Hamza Namungo Kasuja.
Okay.
I work with the House of Zakat and Work for Uganda.
Okay.
I head research and training division.
Okay.
I also double as the head of finance and planning. So research and planning go hand in hand.
Okay, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. So that's what I do in the House of Zakat.
Okay.
I also represent the World Zakat Forum.
Okay.
The World Zakat Forum is, I will not call it a replica, but it's the same as you would look at the World Economic Forum.
Okay.
That sometimes sit in Davos, Switzerland. So the ours sit in Southeast Asia, basically.
Okay.
We've been to the UK last year, but we introduced or we established the World Zakat Forum.
Okay.
I mean, the World Zakat and Waqf Forum.
Okay.
We included the Waqf or Waqf 2 years back to try and mobilize all the institutions world over that deal in Zakah and Waqf.
Okay.
One, we established 3 principles. One is knowledge sharing. 2 is capacity building.
That is World Zakat?
World Zakat Forum.
Okay.
In that, we're looking at the capacity to do, improve the capacities of other institutions, even ourselves, to do better than we can, and then the capacity to be what we wish to be, and then the capacity to relate. Of course, you would think that you're the best in doing something,
but
if you cross over maybe to Kenya, Nairobi, if you cross over to Nigeria or Rwanda, and you find people who are excellent at what you are doing,
you realize you're lacking something.
Eventually, you would go for benchmarking.
What I know, you are a candidate for PhD.
A PhD candidate.
Mashallah.
Yes, a graduate researcher.
Okay.
Under the Doctor of Philosophy, Islamic Finance and Banking. I'm looking at the Islamic social finance instruments.
So this is your area. My topic today is your area of concentration.
I'm being trained in that area. I will not say it's my area. There are those who are way better than myself. Okay. But I'm a student of that area, basically, and I have an experience. They call us, or we're trying to call ourselves, scholar practitioners. You're into the academia, you research, and again you have the industry knowledge. So I have an experience of over now 10 years in managing Zakah and Waqf institutions, setting them up, strategizing for them. In Uganda with the House of Zakah, we try to put something up in Kenya with the masjid, the central masjid there in Nairobi. I've forgotten the name.
Now I'm looking at the World Zakat Forum vis-a-vis the Muslim community, someone who is down in Masaka.
Yes.
How do I benefit from the World Zakat Forum?
One, it's categorical. First of all, we have to look at it in a different perspectives. Okay. The World Zakat Forum will not, the benefit will directly come from the forum members. Okay. If I'm in a same consortium or I'm in a same group, in a conference, for example, with an institution from Malaysia, with an institution from Kuwait, an institution from the United Kingdom, while I'm a Ugandan institution, perhaps I have to learn from them. Okay. Learning first to understand what is being done. Okay. For example, in the UK, you will find out that most countries are Muslim countries, Islamic states. Some are minority Muslim countries. Ours is a minority Muslim country. I think we are around 14% Muslims. So the way according to the statistics of UNBS, I think, and the World Bank, I hope. And then if you look at Saudi Arabia, which is almost 100% an Islamic state, you look at Malaysia, which is around 70%.
The Indonesia
90%. The legal perspective or the legal bearing of the operations in Zakat is different. The government, the parliament enacts a Zakat law. The Ministry of Religious Affairs and whatever, they are there to monitor and issue policies.
Okay.
Each and every division has to have an office because this is from the central body,
okay,
from the government. And then we look at the House of Zakat, for example, here. We are under a voluntary, we operate on voluntary
basis.
We are registered as a company, limited by guarantee. There are members who guaranteed themselves to be there for the organization and the Companies Act.
Okay.
So we are here, but we operate on a voluntary basis. You all know,
I know.
You don't have a law that if someone fails to pay Zakat, you'll report to someone. So you have to employ all your God-given talents. One, you have to talk, you have to move, you have to put in money, and you have also to thank UBC for giving us this opportunity.
Okay.
If it was to be paid for, it would have been too much. So
possible.
the World Zakat Forum puts us together to learn from each other.
Okay,
and
knowledge
third,
sharing, I can see.
knowledge sharing first, that is the first level. And then the second level is sharing resources.
Oh.
Knowledge is also a resource. I think it's I won't say it's bigger than money, but it's perhaps one of the biggest resources.
Yes.
Once I get knowledge from you, I will seek for the funds from my constituents.
When you have the knowledge, you can get avenues on how to get the resources.
Another thing is also we are sharing materially. House of Zakat has a scholarship program in Malaysia. Malaysia has around 13 Zakat institutions. It's a federal...
so we get students from Uganda to
Of course, we have 16 there. We have 3 now on PhD program. We have 2 on master's program, and we have 11 on bachelor's level.
It means that when we apply to go to Malaysia, it's not online that someone can study from here?
No. For bachelor's degree, you have to go there.
Okay.
Master's degree and PhD, you go there once, 2 months, and then you come back and you do a research program. Okay. So those are some of the benefits of having or being a member of those forums. You always learn. Yes.
Thank you so much. That is perhaps that is part of our discussion, but then today we are centering on the Zakat as a social or economic empowerment.
Yes.
How can Zakat enable someone to be economically empowered?
Okay.
But before I go into that, how is House of Zakat? Because that is now our
the institution. The House of Zakat and Waqf Uganda is there. It is moving very well.
What do you have for the community, Muslim community? Because at least you're enabling us to fulfill the third pillar.
Yes, we always have what to offer the Muslim community. Since COVID-19, because you know COVID changed a lot of perspectives on how to do business, or in how to operate in any given entity you're operating in, and the Zakat inclusive. Before COVID, there were a lot of operations, of course. And when COVID came, we had to go charitable. Okay. You know, Zakat is both a charitable and economic empowerment tool. Charitable, I mean, there are some of those categorically, the needy and the poor. You'll have a needy who has to be just fed. You have to feed him. He's, first of all, is an elderly, he's poor. Some are disabled, so he's there. Some are not disabled, but they cannot work. They cannot work. You start to try to set up something for him. He cannot just go ahead.
Just
with
laziness or what?
I don't know what it is, but he is a need if you categorize him, because in the essence of Zakat is to support someone to live a better life, a better life that will lead him to be sustainable. Okay. Sustaining himself is the core of it. So if you're hungry, you cannot operate a machine. If you're hungry, if you lack the basic needs, if you can't have something to be presentable here, you cannot come here. Okay. You see? So at the first level, like looking at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the first level is the basic needs. The basic needs. Someone has to be above that line. What they call the poverty line, in that economic essence. So someone has to have the right to eat, to dress, at least reasonably. Someone has to fit in a society, so that Zakat comes in. So there are those whom you have to first work on that aspect of life, and then you tell him about what kind of business can you do. Yes, if you just give him a business without knowing his way of how he is at home, Has he eaten? What is he eating?
The essentials, the basic needs.
Of course, if you give him a machine, you'll just take it to the market
and
sell it a quarter of a price you bought it for.
Because he wants food.
He wants food. So in Zakah, you have to look at that. So as you've asked, it was a very important question that what do we have in the house of Zakah?
For the community.
For the community. We always open for the community. Now we operate on case-by-case basis. If someone
What do you mean case-by-case?
Case-by-case basis. Earlier, all the first years of our operations, we could try to mobilize, collect, put in a pool, and then specify
annually,
and then we distribute once a year. Now what we realize that some people come with the itching needs. Someone has a bill to settle in a hospital. Someone has to procure or buy medicine for him. There's a school fees. Someone has to top up. We have to top up on some students' school fees and many things. Someone is traveling to Mbarara or is traveling to Yumbe.
Someone is stranded in Kampala.
Of course, he's been stranded 3 days. At his home in Yumbe, they are waiting for him. He has a home, but there's no means for him to reach. So what I mean by case is that you come, we assess, we serve you, and then you go. So the notion of waiting for a full year was a bit relaxed, and then we operate on case by case. For instance, we have 3 terms a year. The other time we used to handle only once. You come in December, you apply, and then the second and third term and second term we close.
Let's look at the cases. You handle after 3 months, 4 months, or what?
Case by case. You come, we look at your papers, then you need transport, we give you.
Like someone who doesn't have transport, how can I process papers now?
Good, that's very good. First of all, we don't just issue out money. You come, you're crying, you're trembling, we say, oh, maybe, we just give you money. People used to come and do that. And then we realized, no, we have to have systems. So we have a form. You have a form, you come, you fill a form, you bring your national ID, you bring the evidence. Are you from Yumbe? Where have you been going? And then what we sometimes do, if you're going to, for example, in Tungamo, we send our support staff to the bus park.
Considering the price.
We pay the ticket, and then we give you a stipend, something
instead
small.
Of giving me money.
Some, when you reach at that stage of going to the bus park, they vanish.
Oh, they run away.
Yes, they go away.
Someone disappears.
So it means he came from home, sat down, he hatched a plan to come and hoodwink to get money.
So leave alone those ones for transport. Now look, I'm looking at someone who is stranded. He has a business, soon collapsing, but he just needed some startup or some to move on. Yes.
Okay, that's also there, because whatever we do, it's not out of our wishful thinking that we should do this. It comes from the 8 categories that are divisible in Zakah: the poor, the needy, the administrators, the fisabilillah, in the way of Allah, and then all those categories, there are 8. So once you have a need, that form also categorizes you. You don't tick that I'm poor, because if you will let you tick, there are 8 categories. You could be poor. 1, that's a category. You could be a needy, that's a category. You could call yourself an administrator of Zakah in your village, because we don't know where you come from.
Of course.
You could be fisabilillah, you say, Allah wished for me to travel to Kampala. So, or you could tick all the 8 categories and say, I'm a needy. In 8 fronts.
Generalizing everything.
And then we have to say, this one needs, here we give 50, here we give 70, because that's the essence of it. So that box is left for official use only, for the Sharia people. So you take in your need, they assess and they say this one falls here.
They take according to the category.
Of course, and then we have a policy. At the back of the form, there is a policy. If someone applies here in this and these items, it means he falls here. Yes, so you just don't come and say, I'm rich.
You clustered these
of
cases.
Course, everything has a paper behind. So you come, they assess that you need a business support. What kind of business are you doing? What is the equivalent? I mean, the net worth of your business. What's the net worth of your business? You say 40 million. What do you need? 20 million. And then we look at what we have. After we're looking at what we have, we look at those who are in the line also. You may need 25 million.
You have.
Of course, you may need 25 million when someone needs only 200,000. You have some youth and some, I don't want to call them single mothers, some young ladies with kids, with no supportive husbands. He sits there, he say, I can make pancakes. What do you need? I need like a sack of charcoal, I need kalai, some kind, all those things. And if you tally them together, it comes to 200,000. So we first settle this one, depending on her need and her responsibilities. So she has 4 family members to cater for, and then for you, other aspects of your life are good, but only your business. Your business. So look at what do you own? I own a house. I don't rent. I have a car. I have this.
But my business is
it's collapsing. We don't tell you to sell your car to do a business, but we just inform you. You know, we are not in position to support each and these businesses, and we had very many of them. During COVID and after COVID, you know, the spillover effects of COVID. Yes, we had that people's businesses almost collapsed, and they were running to Zakat. And Zakat also depends on businesses that are profitable.
I know.
So it was a cycle that could not end.
Okay. So
now we focused more on education.
Okay.
Economic empowerment is there. And then we looked at also at charitable aspect of life. You know, in COVID, I think you remember here, the school, a fully turnkey school we built in Lodonga sub-county in Yumbe district, where we found children studying under mango trees.
How is Lodonga now?
Lodonga is operational. We found close to 60 people studying under a trees. Now they are close to 400. The enrollment is just enterprising. They didn't have a shelter. They didn't have facilities. And they were entitled to one because they were orphans. Orphans, we're supposed to cater for them.
True.
So we built a fully, they call it a turnkey facility. And we are still supporting them through Zakat.
Sometimes people think that Zakat is not meant for such cases like education, maybe perhaps to maybe empowering, and because Zakat you give in, when you look at education, it's a process. Are you going to fund these students from level A to the last one?
Okay, the question has 2 sections. One, you said Zakat is meant to be given to people to use, individuality of Zakat, because in the ayah they say Zakat is for the needy. The needy.
Yes.
It's a person, a needy. In picture is there, and then the poor, it describes someone, a poor standing there, and not a project. And then it's for the administrators, of course the administration has to be there, and then fisabilillah, in the way of Allah, of course. Now you have to look at our communities first of all. And the Sharia, we have a Sharia board that fully function and already qualified. They look at very many aspects when they are into the process of supporting or undertaking a project. First, we have to look at the school, what causes poverty. You have to ask yourself, if someone comes, I have a problem, I can't feed my family. How many do you have? 9. I can't find work. What's the problem?
Actually, some of the indicators, education literacy.
Of course, someone will tell you that I was being given a driving job, but they needed the NS4 certificate. Did you have it? No, I didn't have it. Do you know how to drive? Yes, I have to drive. So why is he poor? He has a job, he had an opportunity, but he could not take it off because he lacked the qualifications. So you look at the children he is having at home. How many are amongst those who are in school? He said 3. The 6, where are they? They are at home. How old are they? They are in teens, teen brackets. Meaning they were also going to face the same predicament. No education, and the world is changing. People are getting educated.
Yes.
Education is becoming very competitive.
It's an essential.
So what is the problem there? You're poor. What is the problem? It's education. So what we do, we say, you want capital? We don't have capital now, but we can offer you what to eat. Secondly, those who are sitting, the children you have sitting at home, bring them to us. So we have a department. In Metropolitan International University, we have close to 400. Last year, they graduated under our program. They got their degrees. Some are teachers.
Okay.
We have 11 in Malaysia. In November, 3 or 4, they are graduating. Others have even got a master's degree scholarship on top of the bachelor's degree we gave them. Not masters, not from our side, but from Malaysia. It means if we get your daughter from here,
yes,
we take her to Malaysia first. She's going to be educated, tuition free. She's going to be given accommodation, world-class facilities.
I know.
Secondly, she will be given a monthly stipend of 450,000 per month.
Okay.
You see?
As a student.
As a student. Some even save. We have one who is going for Umrah. From there, she's going to Umrah. She saved over 3 years. She's been saving her money. The cost of living is very low. The chances of getting jobs there are very high. So she got,
even when she comes back to Uganda, it's
and she knows one is not coming back, a girl.
Really?
Because she was doing very well. Her supervisors, and they got her two internships. They were paying. She saved more, and then they secured her a scholarship.
Oh,
so where did she come from? A father came. I have my daughter. I don't know what to do. She's not going to campus.
I can see the life is changing for the family now.
And then Zakat takes over. And then you're in Malaysia. Some even are sending school fees for their primary level siblings. In UPE, they are funding school fees. So Zakat is meant to uplift.
See the changing now.
Of course. It means it has to uplift you from the objects of poverty. Before empowering, you have to be lifted to a platform where you can see the opportunities and take them on. Some even, you see, this is UBC. Some even don't know where UBC is, but they pass. All the time they pass and go down. Why?
The mindset, perception.
They don't even know where an opportunity is. You could be having a job listing here, but someone cannot afford to even upload data to check.
Because of the, yes.
Someone is educated, but because of poverty, because of everything.
That's why you came in with such a program?
So we come in with a program. Under this program, again, we realize that we have many students who are studying just for the case of studying. You know, education now, there's what we call soft skills and occupational education. Education, one, it has to match the industry.
The industry, yes.
Those who are educated have to be felt in the industry.
Yes.
I did BCom, I work with URA, I did BCom, I did mass communication, I work with the
someone, why are you studying? I'm studying for formality.
Broadcasting, UBC here. So we find students, even especially in Muslim communities, they're just studying. How many points did you wish to get? 17. What is your course? Luganda, Art, Islam, flat. I'm not saying that they are bad, they are good, but we also provide that. You come with your daughter or son.
You offer career guidance?
Yes, we offer them, because why are we taking you to Malaysia to do something flat? If you want flat, it is there, but we have to guide you. So we are changing how Zakat is meant first to uplift you to a level then where you may appreciate your life, that I'm living, I'm proud to be a Muslim. Okay. And then from there you get empowered. Empowerment means your daughter is having good education, she's changing the lives of her siblings, and also her job prospects. You could find a job. And
I'm looking at you spending a lot of money on one student and depriving the poor one, people who want small monies to get that money.
That's a very good observation. One, under the education department, I think I moved with this magazine. This is our annual magazine. Every year we have a magazine that where we report on everything we do. I wanted to show you something here, well on air, to show you, to answer your question. It is here, it is here, sorry, it is here. Okay, there is what we call drop a coin and educate a child. Drop a coin, so it is here. It is here, you see this box, donation box.
Yes.
Now,
what is it all about, drop a coin?
It's called drop a coin and educate a child. You know, they say charity begins at home. Those who are paying Zakat now, they are not paying Zakat because they've just had Zakat. Most of them.
It has been in their mind.
It has been instilled in them. You see, inculcated in them from their childhood. They saw their families were religious, they saw them practicing, and then they are taking on. That's one way of training.
Generation by generation.
Generation by generation. Now, the Malaysian scholarships or the foreign scholarships are not for everyone. Of course, they're not for everyone. Some would want to go, others may not go. And they're not for primary level pupils.
For the highest level.
So what we did, was to have the Drop a Coin and Educate a Child program, where we have a donation box. We launched it in schools.
Okay.
Many secondary schools, we have it in Kawempe, in Shinawa schools, in Kampala High.
Just say schools, fine.
Schools, first we put it in schools. Why? We wanted to train, you see, to spark their brains, these children.
The young ones?
Yes, the young one. We have this in Turkey. That's the way we got the concept.
Oh,
we went to Turkey, we're in Danet, that's their government.
I can see the impact of knowledge sharing now. Okay?
And knowledge sharing. We just traveled to Turkey to present a paper on Wakaf, and then we saw boxes in supermarkets, boxes in Turkey, in shops, and then small ones on the counters of shops, and then we asked why. What do they do with the boxes for? They told us that the meat you eat, especially in Africa, we fundraise or we mobilize
like that.
Funds. A coin. We saw children 2 years, 3 years coming and dropping. So when after dropping those coins,
after a year, then they
pull the resources together and get $1 million.
Then
so they send them.
You bring the meat.
Meat to Africa. They take meat to the Americas, down to the Caribbean, or world over. And then we say, okay, with this, even the young ones are giving. Let's start launching this in school. So in school, in those donation boxes, collect a reasonable amount of money. So if you apply from Yumbe, from a primary school there, you're young, for primary level, we send the 100,000 for a term. For a term. If you come in Makerere, you're in final year, or you have 2 semesters remaining, we go in our box, we get $1 million.
You check what is there.
Take. So we're not depriving everyone. We just enlarging the cake. We're making a cake bigger. If you say you only eat icing sugar, you'll not eat other parts of the cake, then you're depriving someone. You have to expand the cake. Every color. I want to eat yellow, you give. Someone would wish to eat red, you give them red. The cake has to be big, and we're making it big, yeah.
Okay, now I can see I have two concepts. There is Zakat and other charitable or charity instruments.
That's what I told you, that you say you mentioned about my area of specialization. One, we are looking at Islamic banking and finance. In banking and finance, there is what we call finance. Finance in general. And then under finance, there is Islamic finance. Islamic finance has banking, it has microfinance, it has those circles, you see, and there is what we call the Islamic social. The word social means the binding of the instrument. Socially means zakat, sadak, but there is what we call waqf, the giving of property and bequeathing property for perpetual collection of charity. And then there's what we have, cash waqf, the money you can give. I say I'll give 100,000 monthly towards a certain charity institution or a mosque to do this and this, or to pay for water bills. That can also. There are many instruments.
Okay.
So under the zakah, sadak, waqf, there are very many. So we handle. The institution is House of Zakah and Waqf. But under Zakah alone, or between Zakah and Waqf, there are many instruments.
Okay.
Even there is open charity, where we have non-Muslims coming in. When we're building Lodonga, we received around 20 millions. Yes, from, how do you call them? Here we go. How do you call them? The Catholic seminaries. The seminaries were fundraising and sending us. We had reverends contributing. They say, you're helping the orphan. An orphan is an orphan. You have an orphan, a Muslim orphan, and a Christian orphan, and everyone orphan.
Brother, these are new innovations and interventions in Uganda.
Sure.
How are we welcoming them? How are you changing our mindset so that we can embrace such programs and interventions?
Of course, we've been trying, and we're still doing. Firstly, as I mentioned, they are not new. They are not new.
They are new to us.
Okay, in Uganda, you could say that they are new because
in our community it's new.
Yeah, 13 years
because when
back.
you talk about drop a coin, educate a child, it's new.
There's been dropping coins in mosques. If you see those boxes in mosques, they are dropping coins in mosques. to do other things, to pay for water bills, to help those brothers who are coming to mosque hungry. But what we did was to have this same box put in schools for young children. Oh. And you find them dropping. I have chikumi, I have 100 and 200.
Have the balance, I can drop it there.
Yes, let me drop. And then we find the same person 20 years later will be giving if he'll be giving, because at the young age he was trained, not theoretically but practically. So it's not new conceptually, it has been there, but what we did was to twist it over to face education entirely. We have very many boxes, and they've been collecting. People are embracing. You asked about embracing. They are embracing. House of Zakat, as I mentioned earlier, we have a national outlook to our operations. We are not sectorial, that you will say that we are associated with Rashid's section, a sect, and we don't like this one is sect. However, you may find out that people would wish we would be, but I think strategically we have to serve everyone, every Ugandan. We have to serve him. If the constitution of the institution points to him, we have to serve him. People are embracing. Of course, as you've mentioned, there is slow adoption because of product knowledge. People look at it as an innovation. An innovation. This and this happened during the period of Prophet, and then it's not to myself to answer that, but what we have to do, we have to be practical. If someone is lacking school fees, is lacking school fees in black and white.
True.
Whether you borrow the money, or whether you get it from Zakat, someone needs support. So we are there, we are here for action. Guided action.
Okay, Zakat, sometimes when you look at the 5 pillars, Zakat and Hijjah.
Yes.
They do directly with money. It's all about money.
Yes.
And for Zakat, it's an individual giving out. So sometimes we become reluctant in case of giving out monies. So how is it in Uganda so far now?
I think it's everywhere. Zakat is a religious obligation.
True.
Some call it a religious tax. Others call it a charitable whatever, depending on how you look at it. But it's an obligation. Someone has to pay it. And you know, an obligation has its effects on people.
True.
Yes. The less religiosity, I call it religiosity, iman. People have to be, you have to be religious. And you have to be human for you to pay. Because in the Quran, Allah points you that zakah is for the needy. They have to receive something. This one and this one has to receive. So it's a community responsibility. But of course, if you don't have an enforcing law, I mean, if you don't have a law that will help you to enforce the payment, of course you have to rely on charitable means. You have to talk more, you have to invest more into mindset changing. You have to pay for many workshops for people to embrace. And Ugandans are embracing, alhamdulillah. Over the 13 years, they've been embracing. However, I think the potential, we have not reached even 1% of the potential. Yeah, of course. We have not reached even 1% of the potential.
You're still watching UBC, program Inside Islam. I have Brother Hamza Namungo, Head Research and Training, House of Zakat Work of Uganda. He's taking us through the essence of Zakat as an economic and social empowerment. Brother, you've been benchmarking.
We've been benchmarking.
You and the team. Are we soon seeing a policy, or you going to lobby for a policy in the parliament so that we can have these policies in place, so that we can see how we can put Zakat in place? Probably some we have like for us who are salary earners. How are you going to penetrate into the organization so that you can get Zakat out of our salaries and that?
Of course, that's thank you very much. We've been benchmarking. We are still benchmarking, and in that line, alhamdulillah, on Monday next week, this coming week, we are hosting the Islamic Development Bank, IDB, in Training Institute, through the Government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. We got an opportunity to be prioritized for capacity building training under the Islamic Development Bank Institute, improving our capacities to do the work we are doing better of collecting zakah and sensitizing the communities, of to be also to strategically see ourselves in years to come, the growth, the guided growth, and then the relations. How do you relate with other people or the other stakeholders? In relation or relating with other stakeholders, you mentioned about seeing something in Parliament for that matter. I think it's not, it will be over ambitiousness. I think I'll say that because under the Companies Act, everyone is free. We are free to do zakah here, and we are doing, and we're thankful for that.
Maybe I was looking at, I'm looking at the policy. The policy.
On the policy level, of course, the ground is there. You're not going for something. The kind of policy I think we see in other countries, like in the Muslim majority countries, is where the government gets in through the Ministry of Religious Affairs to try to enforce. In some countries, like Saudi Arabia, you cannot file your tax returns without filing zakah. Those filings have to go together. So it means the government has a policy of making people to pay their zakah. So here you cannot do that. You're a minority Muslim country, and wherever you, even if you're a minority, the legal grounds is provided well by the government. What we do is to engage. I mentioned the capacity to relate with other stakeholders. We are relating. That's why you saw us in the Ministry of Finance getting endorsed, besides other projects to receive this
COVID,
trade.
I saw you going to the Prime Minister's office.
Of course, during COVID, we contributed at the National Task Force for the COVID-19. We gave in food. Why? It's not because that we had too much food. No, we have to, your impact has to be felt as a stakeholder in the economy. If you're supporting people, you're building schools in Yumbe, putting over 400 people back into school. You know, there are many school dropouts in those rural areas. So if you put very good facilities like we have, we put in Yumbe, now the enrollment is up. So yes, you have a stake to support the government. So that's why we're engaging. On that aspect, we are trying to engage each and every stakeholder, the zakah payers in business, the salaried earners. We have very many of them. I think over, I'll just look at the general statistic. I think there are over 2 million, but all over them are not Muslims. So we are trying. We are trying to look for those companies who are having Muslim employees. We engage them on a voluntary basis. We're not pushing this that someone must, every country must. No. And we've been successful somehow. And then we are looking also at other instruments of charity like Sadak that is bringing in money also to support other people.
Brother, when we look at the categories, we have the zakah administrators, and most of the zakah administrators in our communities are the sheikhs and our clergies in their locations. So how are you relating this literature, this knowledge to our local sheikhs and imams?
We're doing this, firstly, we have weekly programs on radio stations and monthly chances of appearing on televisions, like here, we've been invited. We pass over the message. Secondly, we have what we call liaison offices or regions, like in Masaka. Wherever we put a donation box, you become our agent. So we put our materials there for you to pick. Over the radio programs and TV programs, we go over the materials we sent. Because if we are to appear physically, then we don't have the budget. We would lack the vehicles, we would have lack the facility to fuel them, to take sheikhs everywhere. If we are to do that, we would have to stop other operations. So what we do, we supply materials, we take them through over the radios. If you get a chance, we visit them physically. And secondly, what we did, that the government supported us through the Ministry of Finance, is to do the training of trainers, TOT.
TOT,
so
yes.
The IDB, Islamic Development Bank, is coming here on Monday to train 29 sheikhs. Sheikhs in zakah governance and management. So the 21 sheikhs are going to be trained to become trainers
So that they can share the knowledge to others.
Share the knowledge to others. We got from Yumbe, West Nile, Sheikh Kasimu Abdallah. We have from Ntungamo, we picked Sheikh Mutuhe. Mustafa is from there. We picked from Sheikh Ugonza Ashraf, the former Kad, the Hoima.
Regional Kad.
Sheikh Sozi from Masindi. So we are picking people from Luwero, they are coming from Masaka, they are coming. So we are making sure that the 29, everyone under 29 people has to train more 30 people, and those 30 people will train other people.
Okay.
So we have a 5-year program that we are looking at train at 1,200 Zakat agents.
Okay.
Or what they call them Amil Zakat.
Okay.
The agents of Zakat. So the knowledge is going to flow down in a more systematic way.
You've been here for now coming to 10 years?
Yes, 10 operation.
You're in operation. So have you traced the area, the way you started these projects? Are people, have they changed their lives? Do you have that track record?
Of course we do. Our first project was the Dokolo Mosque, community mosque, in Dokolo district near the headquarters. The mosque is still standing. The structure is very good. We even helped them to do a borehole there. So the mosque sells water to the community, and then they raise monthly sums of money to help the mosque. And then we also supported the long-serving sheikhs. We gave them each a cow for dairy purposes. And when we go there, we gave one, we find 4. We find 5. Yes. Secondly, we've been empowering women. There are those who were needy. Now they are Zakat payers. They come back.
Okay.
Secondly, we have also gained the confidence of the community.
Yes.
We started with no property. We're renting. Now our offices belongs to ourselves. We have many properties that have been donated to us. It means that the work. So if you to use that weight, the trust alone is equivalent to what people have entrusted us with. So the organization has grown. On the book value is big, and the impact is growing. I would say the confidence is there. However, the spillover effects of COVID lately, people are not well off, but they are trying, they are giving. Yes.
Now, religiously, how does Zakat distribution and collection instills solidarity in the community?
Okay. Firstly, solidarity at times is looked at differently. The distribution, the distribution aspect of it, I think, it makes someone resolute. The trust is there that the needy, if I fall in that category of needy, the Muslims will support. Will support me. We have many coming. The collection, of course, a collection is subjective. Some will shy away from paying. So there will be no solidarity in collection at times, because you have to invest a lot in drawing up people to come. And they have been trying to come. But the distribution of it is the one that strengthens the bonds of solidarity. Yes. Because it's called the poverty line. If someone falls below the line, he always knows that there is an office I'll go to to tell them what is happening. And then I get support. All times if I fail to get support, but I know I've shared my problems with them.
Even the gap between the poor and the needy is narrowing?
It can narrow, but in our aspect it would be of being ambitious to say that we have. But practically speaking, we've seen those we're supporting. Their lives are changing. Their lives are changing, yes. Our budget is not big, but it's small. But in its...
How can we make it big? Because of course, this, if being is a national...
Of course, this
aspect,
is
then we need
the training I've told you, this 5-year strategy, because the first 10 years, we're concerned with ourselves of sustaining the organization. Yes, you have to, you're born, of course you're in the infancy stage, you don't, there you have many challenges, you need support, you need to strategize. So the organization is there now, we know it is safe, it can operate. So the next 5 years is where we're going to intensify, run deep into rural areas. That's why I told you we have a plan to train 1,200 sheikhs or duats or Zakat agents to go deep in the rural areas to mobilize people to pay Zakat. And in that case, we're not telling them to mobilize people to bring money to Kampala. No. In Masindi, we have a branch, the Masindi District Zakat, House of Zakat program. They collect, they have an account, they have a committee, they collect through their committee. We support, we add something, and we guide them
to distribute.
Yes, we give them material for calculations, and then people pay to them. When time comes to distribute, if it's little, we add something. Because if you collect from Butebo and then you come here,
bring it
and then you take back to Butebo, I think the money will be spent in transport. So we are giving them some kind of franchising. So we are House of Zakat Butebo, for instance. We don't have a branch there, but I'm using it as an example. House of Zakat Butebo, the committee of Zakat in that district, then we open an account. They're the signatories. We on the committee, we guide them, and then we brand them, because what we need is to collect money from there to support people from there. If the poor are very many, as you may think it is, and those giving are very little, the money collected is less
cannot match
cannot match, and then we come in, we add a little, and it will never match, it will never be enough.
I know.
But we try to guide them.
Okay.
Yes, that instead of giving 100 people 10,000 each, reduce the number and improve on the impact. Look at the impact. Yes.
You talked about the education fund. So far, what is the impact of that fund, and ever since started it?
First, we would look at the impact in terms of reducing the school dropout. You know, it's a very big problem for our country. True. We have very many of them below the age of 15 dropped out of school. Of course, once you drop out in primary, you will not go in secondary. If you drop out in secondary, at least the university opportunity becomes a problem. So we've reduced it. If I tell you that in Lodonga, they are studying under trees and they could get for a day, when it rains, they come 2 or 3. When it's dry season, they will come 10, 12. So when we put up a structure, a very good structure, they're in 400. It means there is an improvement in the dropout reduction. Secondly, there is access to education. Education in general, there's access to education. Those having finished their degrees at the Metropolitan University, they have a degree, they have a paper to show to the job market that I can take over the job. Secondly, there is access to quality education. There's education in its basic line, and then there's quality education. Quality education, there are those who are doing their masters and their degrees from here and from abroad. I won't say here we don't have quality education. We have quality education, but there are levels. There are levels. So there are those who are getting education that gives them more prospects of getting jobs even outside the country. So we give them an opportunity. Secondly, we provided capital. Machineries. We have this annual magazine that we're sharing. If you go through, you'll see with pictures. You'll see someone received a machine that does this and this and is somewhere. Some we gave them, then poultry. We provided them with the birds to rear and then get resources. And now they are sustaining themselves. So the gap has been reduced. There's something that has been done, but of course there is more to do. There is more to do, because always the poverty line in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, will always be stagnating. You'll find it's contracting, but again it will go wide and wide because of the population.
I have 2 minutes to end the show, but then, though these interventions are there, but some of us, we are still reluctant to pay Zakat, not knowing that it's a pillar. So what could be your take to people who are still reluctant to pay Zakat?
I think reluctancy is there, and you're right to point it. And also there is another factor that when you talk to them, they will say we are paying. There's individual distribution. There's also that. People are not trusting the systems. They say, no, if I say needy, I'll just give him.
I have a mosque there. Let me just go and
let me just take the money there, and from here I go. They'll know what to do with the money. And if you're into business or you're into the responsibility of uplifting communities, you must measure your operations. You must see the impact of what you're doing. That's why in the categories of Zakat recipients, there's administrators of Zakat. The administrators are not given money because they are poor or they are lacking jobs,
but because they are in operation.
I'm among those at House of Zakat, but we are not receiving because we are poor. We need to receive Zakat, but God gave us a responsibility to do that. Whoever, because I will not say he gave me in person, he gave the administrators of that, as because they are bringing their skills, they are bringing their commitment. It's a job. So in Zakat there is a job creation because you're given a job. These 129 sheikhs we are going to train, we are training them to be collectors of Zakat, and whoever collects has an eighth on that cut. It means he's getting resources. Okay. So Allah gave us jobs, very many of them, as long as we have systems to organize those jobs.
Sheikh, brother, Zakah is a concept which has literature and of which you must undertake this. Are we soon seeing you cooperating with universities, at least to like Islamic financing, which is now in universities?
Yes.
Are we seeing the concept of Zakah also being included in our Islamic universities? And
it has to be. You know, inshallah, we're scheduled to be in Malaysia for an World Zakah Convention. In Malaysia, there's one state called Kedah, and there are many other states. The Zakat there collects $100 million annually, average, and they have a lot of programs they are undertaking.
In the universities?
Yes. One of the aspects of development, especially in organized institutions, is research. Research deals with data. Everything you do must have something at the back. We're on screen here, so you see a picture, but a scientist sees numbers behind. So you must have data and everything. So this Zakah institution in Malaysia has an institute of Zakah in one of the public universities. So if you say Zakah and education, what is the impact? It's not you, Rashid, from office to study. They just send to the professors and the researchers.
They first do research.
Yes, to research. If we go into education, what can this fund of Zakah reduce on the national, you see, gaps? So they will research and produce a report. And then from the report, you'll begin a program.
We're waiting for a research from you. Because at least now,
so here, I was finishing a point. Here, it's the universities and the institution of House of Zakah to sit down, because we get students from some universities. You go to House of Zakah, they're helping people. You go and do a topic about Zakah and poverty alleviation.
I can see
they just send an individual, a student to you. But if we do a collaboration, if we want to solve something in Masaka,
I have 3 seconds.
Okay, if I have a problem in Masaka, I'll sign an MOU with the university, Chiwanuka University, get his faculty members to research about that program, bring data, and I'll fund the university.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Your last take?
Okay, now my last take, I'm thankful to all the viewers, and I pray that Mr. Rashid and UBC brings me back here and
it
we
is
share.
UBC.
UBC, okay, UBC, and you hear the presenter.
Okay.
I hope I get an opportunity to come back and share and expand on what we've discussed. I urge you to be observant of Zakah and other religious aspects of life, and I thank UBC for having this program. Yes, sure.
I want to thank Brother Hamza for this knowledge and good discussion, mashallah. I'm Rashid Chiwanuka, House of Zakah is here to enable us to fulfill our third pillar, mashallah, in Islam. So, be there, contribute to Zakah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam.
يريد الفناء ورب السماء فيا أمتي أنصتوا واسمعوا فجل الأمور بدت في خفاء قنابلهم كالسموم تدار صدوق وما من إخاء فجر يحاك لكم أمتي يريد الفناء ورب السماء فيا أمتي أنصتوا واسمعوا فجل الأمور بدت في خفاء قنابلهم كالسموم تدار فما من صدوق وما من إخاء وما من إخاء.
UPC, inspiring Uganda.